Hello, everyone. It's so great to see you guys. Thank you so much for coming today. 안녕하세요. That's hello in Korean. I'm the co-chair of tonight's 10th anniversary award ceremony celebration with my co-chair, Giles Lee. Because this is BAAFN's 10th anniversary for the essay contest, I'm wearing my Korean hanbok. And I wore this for my wedding ceremony 30 years ago.
Still married.
And we're still married, and there he is. Back there, Key. And my daughter's also here. Yay, Izzy. Okay, so also what I wanted to say is my daughter Sophie got married last July, and she also wore this same hanbok. I was going to get her a brand new one because that's the custom. You get the bride and the groom a hanbok, but she wanted to wear mine because she said it's sentimental. So I wanted to wear it tonight in celebration of our awesome winners. Our essay prompt was different this year than the past 9 years. This year's prompt is, being an Asian American, what is your superpower? This year, the BAAFN board and I wanted students to engage in the process of discovering their Asian American superpowers. This year especially, it was extra important for me to help spread the wings of our students, helping them to recognize their strengths, because we all have them to contribute to society. My superpower in this year's essay contest is bringing greater understanding of humanity through stories that can help build bridges with one another in the search for belonging and walking the shoes of someone else. Because when we do this, that's when we really understand someone else. So it is my hope tonight you will hear something that gives you greater understanding of yourself and one another. So sit back, take a deep breath in, exhale while Giles Lee, my co-chair, comes up.
Thank you, Susan. I am Giles Lee. Pleasure to be here. Thank you so much for being here today. And thank you for celebrating the work of our incredible essay winners. Having read all of the submitted essays, we had 30, and I ran the judges panel. I can say that I think our Asian American community in Brookline does have a superpower. The superpower is our incredible imagination. Right now, more than ever, I think we need a lot of imagination. So many incredible things in our life, even the things we see here tonight, BAAFN, this beautiful Coolidge Corner Theater, this essay contest, each award-winning essay, all of them exist because someone imagined them first. And when we think about how to work toward a better future for all people in all communities, it starts with using our imagination to conceptualize something better than what we have. So, speaking of the essay contest, I'd like to introduce a video about its history, featuring many important people from our past and present and probably future, produced and directed by Miles Leong.
He's right here, right over here.
A Brookline High alum.
Brookline High alum.
So proud to be able to share with you all what this night is about. So, cue the video.
So back then, I guess before it started, I had been on the school committee, and I realized that there actually wasn't a lot of support for Asian and Asian American students.
So Ira definitely had like such a good view because he was on the school committee for many years of like what kind of supports other students can have and other things that like just as sort of early parents we didn't know much about. It took a while for us to have our kids go through the system for us to sort of see some of the places where we could help our Asian American students.
And it really hit home when I remember one of the meetings we were supposed to approve a list of awards that were going to be given to Brookline High students. And none of them really targeted or addressed our students, our Asian American students.
Ira has been an ideas person. So he has these great ideas, and oftentimes in our relationship, he's like, "Yeah, it'd be great if we did this." And then he said, "Okay, but I'm heading
And
out
then
to
she'll
do
do it.
some things."
And so I guess we kind of brainstormed what we had. I don't remember if it was right before BAAFN or after BAAFN that we were trying to find different ways to improve our representation. And, um, Teresa and I kind of discussed this and we came up with this writing board, this what it means to be Asian American.
My eye opener was when I arrived here because I don't have a recollection of being, the target of racism. I'm very lucky, probably. And when I came to this and attended this little event, all right, very moving event, I realized at 65 years old that, boy, why people have to go through this, kids have to go through this.
Yeah. There actually, was unfortunately a fair amount of pushback from Brookline school administrators, even though 18% of the students in the school district were Asian or Asian American background.
And you probably know many folks think of Asian Americans as the model minority. And our teenagers, our youth, probably just are little robots studying all the time and have very little struggles.
There are stereotypes, hardworking, maybe bookworms, math nerds, etc. You name it. Racism, stereotypes, they are like, a little virus. Once you get it, it's so difficult to get rid of it. I have two boys, and I'm a single mother. And I thought, did my kids have to go through this? And they never talked to me about it? Was I totally personally insensitive to this? I am proud is not the word. I'm really, really gratified, I think, that I was able to personally understand more about the Asian American experience just by reading through all these essays over the years, hundreds of them, and I promise you, some of those essays I have read 20 times and I remember them.
This was a way to at least let their voices be heard. Some of those essays are sort of, conflicts and struggles, and some of them are celebrations. And I think the Asian American group can sort of encompass all of that.
My piece was about being an Asian American adoptee and how I don't look like my family, and my entire life kind of coming into the fact and knowing that family is not about what you look like, but is about the shared love that you have. And in my piece, I talked about the first time I went back to China with my mom and how it was the first time I was like finally surrounded by other people who looked like me.
So my essay was called Oil and Water. It was about my experience being Asian American and half Asian, half white. And I sort of zoomed in on an experience I had with racism with my family and talked about how that shaped my identity and my experience as an Asian person.
What I wrote about in my essay, which was sort of thinking about these two parts of my identity and like these two seemingly disparate parts of my identity and reconciling them. Although I think that what I wrote about in my essay was that they felt very separate, and that I sort of could have both. But I think that it's really less so that they're separate and more so that like there's a lot of overlap, and that like being Asian American is, maybe I do agree with what I wrote in my essay. But yeah, I think it really is about just like bringing these two together and being proud about each aspect and not trying to hide any aspect in any situation.
My essay was about my grandfather who lives in Taiwan and was born in Taiwan when it was a Japanese colony and kind of my experiences trying to understand his story and how that fits with my own life as an Asian American.
I remember thinking about what being Asian American meant to me and what my Asian American identity really was. I'm Korean American. I was born in Korea and raised in America. So, kind of crossing the two worlds, connecting the two worlds. And as I started to brainstorm what being Korean was and what being American was, and then the intersection of the two, the ideas came pretty clearly to me.
I think it's always a good practice to reflect on experiences that kind of invoke a new feeling for you. And I guess with BAAFN, I saw it as an opportunity to sit down and think back on that. I think at the time in 2017, it had been 6 years since I had gone to China, and then a year since I had done the Brookline China exchange. So I also reflected on the difference in how I felt between the first time I went back to China and then the second time living in Xi'an with the host family. So it was really nice to get to share that. And I think being Asian American adoptee is yet another layered identity upon being an Asian American. And so it was nice to be able to express that and to have other people get to learn more about my story.
I think one thing about growing up Asian American and growing up in an Asian household in America, I think one thing that I've learned is being open to other cultures and like being able to like pick up and respect like different traditions that other people may not have. Yeah, I think that would be my answer.
I guess the prompt, what is your superpower? To me, it seems more almost more urgent in a way. And I think really the key, and this is something that applies to all of the essay contests throughout the years, I guess, is it's both Asian and American. How do those things intersect?
I think the community that surrounds me in terms of my parents, their support systems, and then my own support systems I've built over the year. I really think the people around me are my superpower, rather than something that is kind of part of me.
The superpower that I take away from being Asian is the sense of community that it brings and sort of the way that it makes you feel like you're a part of something that's bigger than yourself. And I think the way that this essay and the contest served as an outlet for that for me was equally as important, if not more, than sort of serving as an outlet for expressing bad things that had happened to me.
I'm really glad that I did the contest. I did it because I think my mother like sent me the link and she was like, you should write about this or something. Since that experience and just, growing older and coming to college, I think I've become a lot more intentional about connecting with my heritage in ways that I, wasn't growing up. And it's definitely been a treasure to like discover this and like take Asian American history courses or take Chinese classes in college and like revise my language grasp and things like that. And I think that doing this essay contest was a good step in getting here.
I remember I attended one of the award ceremonies after I'd won. I forget which year that was, but it was cool to know that I had been kind of like part of the start of this annual essay contest.
What I really took away from it was the experience at the award ceremony. And it was one of the first times that I'd ever really been in such an Asian community and space and felt so uplifted by it rather than insecure about my expression of being Asian.
And I remember the award ceremony, though it was on Zoom, still being super welcoming, super inviting, super congratulatory, and all warm and fuzzy and nice vibes.
It's this is a great thing that you guys are putting on. Like, it's important to have a space like this.
First of all, I can't believe it was 6 years ago. And I can't believe it had only been a thing for 4 years when I won it. It felt like it had been a thing for a lot longer. I think that everyone that ran the organization and the contest was so welcoming to me, walking into it and meeting so many smiling faces and people that didn't need me to be more Asian than I was to really value my story and my experiences. Everyone that works for the contest is just so amazing, and I really felt that the whole time.
congrats to the most recent winners and all the winners that came after me, and all the winners that are to come. I think the organization's fantastic. I think the mission is fantastic.
To the Asian American students, I want to wish them resilience, grace under pressure, and a lot of superpowers. I am deeply honored and grateful to BAAFN for naming one of the awards this year on the 10th anniversary as the Shulancheng Award. I'm truly grateful, honored, and extremely happy. Thank you so much for the honor. Best wishes to all of you, because the louder we talk, the more chances that others will hear.
I think it's really good that there have been people who've been active and pushed towards getting more recognition and, getting more of a voice in how things are done. That's from a lot of hard work from people like Chi Chi and Chris.
Gigi Wu is amazing. She really was the heart of putting BAAFN together, doing so many events, and she's still doing it long after she said, I think I'm gonna like pass the baton, but I think she's still holding that baton and rallying people. So I just want to make sure that this somehow gets in there.
Yeah, she had definitely been the major driving force behind all of this.
Could we have one more round of applause? Thank you. And Miles, where are you? Miles, stand up. What a great video. Here's our producer of this awesome video. Thank you. And Alicia Shu would like to present some flowers for Chi Chi.
Hi, everyone. Welcome. My name is Alicia Hsu. I'm on the BAAFN Steering Committee, and I want to just take a moment to thank our amazing co-chairs, Giles Lee and Susan Park. They pulled all this together during this very busy time, and they've worked so hard. Thank you so much. Let's give them a big round of applause. And now, we cannot continue this evening, without taking a minute to celebrate and appreciate BAAFN's fearless leader, Chi-Chi Wu. In her traditional garb. We want to thank you, Chi-Chi, for showing us all what it means to organize with courage and conviction, to show up, can you hear me? To show up in multiple spaces all at once, I don't know how she does it, to serve the community, to speak truth to power, and to never give up. We are forever grateful to you, Chi-Chi Wu, our fearless leader.
Thank you, Alicia. I should say right back at you. You've been incredible and amazing. You really deserve the flower.
Go. Yeah. Thank you.
I am so impressed by the incredible young people that we're highlighting tonight. Not just because of their talent, which is apparent in these essays, as you'll see, and not just because of their thoughtfulness to share their stories and to use their voices, but this is our community's future. And because of them and others like them, our future is in good hands. Before we introduce our winners and bring them up to read their essays, I'd like to give special thanks to our presenting sponsor, Brookline Bank, and express my sincere gratitude to our judges, Stephanie Nist, Caitlin Starr, and Grace Taliesin. Please give them a warm round of applause. But I also want to thank John Hodgman, who is also here. He's sitting right there. John, could you please stand up? John has been a supporter, sponsor, judge for many, many years, and we want to thank you, John, for being here tonight and for all that you've done for us.
Great, thank you. Thanks to all our sponsors. So I really have the honor of introducing our first winner tonight. Our BAAFN Award winner is Hannah Goodwin, a junior, yes, you can clap it up for her, a junior at BHS, who is also a product of Baker School. She lives with her parents, her Lau Lau, and her cat Bobby. Also, her two older brothers are here tonight. Hannah is extremely active in and out of school, writing for the Cypress, tutoring middle schoolers in math, doing music lessons, participating in debate tournaments, and over the last 2 summers, she has attended programs at Penn and the University of London. I asked her what she was most proud of in her life, and she said it was a 2-week biking trip through Massachusetts, through Vermont, and into Canada, which helped her change her perspective on discomfort, not as something to avoid, but to lean into. Hannah dedicates this win to her Lau Lau for showing her unconditional love and support. And even when Hannah doubted herself, her grandma always reminded her of her potential. So please welcome Hannah Goodwin.
Thank you so much. I'm so honored to be here. The title of my essay is Grounded in Change. I have never stayed in one place long enough to grow roots, but I've learned to carry the soil with me. Change is a constant in my life. I was born in China but grew up in America, navigating worlds where I was never just one thing. In some places, I was too Asian to blend in others, not Asian enough to belong. Every time I learned the flow of things, life shifted again. Some fear change, I expect it. If superpowers help us survive, mine is adaptability. It's not a flashy ability that stops time or bends reality. It's quieter, lingering beneath the surface until needed. This unseen force has shaped me more than anything. I've learned to be both constant and fluid, to observe, adjust, and translate myself into spaces not made for me. Adaptability is more than survival. It's an instinct, a skill, a way of seeing the world that allows me to move through it with confidence, even when unsure where I belong. Moving to Westchester, New York was the first time I realized I was different. My features, my food, my middle name, people pointed them out before I understood what they meant. I felt like a puzzle piece forced into the wrong picture, visible but never quite fitting. So I learned. I studied how people spoke, what they laughed at, how they carried themselves. I folded into the background, not to disappear, but to understand. Blending in was a tool, but true adaptability was salvation. It wasn't about losing myself, but about knowing how to exist anywhere, even when nowhere felt like home. Brookline was another shift, another environment to figure out. By then, I'd mastered transition. I could read a room before stepping into it. I knew how to shift just enough to fit without losing myself. With each move, I became more attuned to the unspoken languages of belonging, the pauses that mean more than words, the subtle ways people connect. But no matter how well I adapted, I could never escape the questions, where are you from? No, but where are you really from? My identity has never been something I could simply exist inside. It's something I'm asked to explain. Strangers, classmates, even well-meaning teachers. People notice me before they know me, searching for an answer before I can give one. The need to define me has always felt more urgent to them than it does to me. Being Wasian, white and Asian, means walking a tightrope between two worlds. It means switching between languages, cultures, and expectations. It means never feeling enough of one thing, yet always too much of another. It is code switching without realizing it, adjusting my tone, interests, and demeanor depending on who I'm with. At times, this constant shifting has made me wonder if I had any identity at all, as though I was just a reflection of my surroundings. But over time, I realized adaptability isn't erasure, it's understanding. It has given me the ability to navigate different spaces, see the world from different perspectives, read between the lines, and sense the unspoken. That is its own kind of power. Yet power does not always feel powerful. There are moments I wish I could exist without explanation, in a space where I don't have to adjust. But I've come to accept that my identity is not fixed, but fluid and expansive. Some fear change because it threatens what they know. I welcome it because it made me who I am. Adaptability has made me observant and empathetic. I see the hesitation in others, the small ways they shrink to fit in. I recognize it because I have lived it. I've learned to create space for others, knowing what it means to feel out of place. True belonging isn't about fitting perfectly, but forging connections. There was a time I resented the constant shifting, the feeling of never being fully anchored. Now, I see it differently. My ability to adapt does not mean I am lost. It means I can find home in many places. My superpower is not standing still. It's not needing a fixed place to feel whole. It's the ability to move forward and embrace the unknown without losing myself. Adaptability is more than survival. It's transformation. It's the ability to grow, to exist fully in different worlds without being defined by them. If life is constantly shifting, I will shift with it. If I cannot plant roots, I will grow wings instead.
That was wonderful. Okay, our Creativity Award winner is William Shen, a junior at BHS who went to Baker School. William, who lives with his parents and 2 younger siblings, is deeply passionate about the performing arts, especially classical piano. He composes music. He also organizes concerts at senior centers, churches, libraries, and other community venues across the state. And he serves as an accompanist for both the choir and orchestra at school. In fact, he has a show later tonight. So if he ends up having to sneak out before the ceremony is done, you'll know why. He also says he enjoys conducting academic research with his dad on topics like the connection between music and mental health. I think you'll agree that you can see William's connection to music come through in his writing as well. He dedicates his win to his loving family, whose support has helped shape who he is, and to his friends, whose encouragement has guided him through many challenges. William, come on up.
Thank you so much for this opportunity. Thank you so much for this opportunity. I'm really honored to be here. As you can see, I'm in my formal clothes. As you mentioned, I have a performance later today, so I thought of it like killing 2 birds with 1 stone. As you've already heard about me, I have a deep background in music, and you might be able to see how it relates to my Asian culture through the essay that I wrote. So I titled my essay, Poetry, Music, and Arts, How Transforming Colors Became My Asian Superpower. I have always been fascinated by the sounds of music, the rhythm of poetry, and shades of colors, like red representing beauty and blue symbolizing sadness. However, I felt that something was missing. As an Asian American from 2 Chinese parents, my elementary school confined me to only having 2 goals: fitting in and not sticking out like a sore thumb. I raised my hand even if I had nothing to say in class, but that only seemed to transform me into a greenish, cloying, fuzzy teacher's pet. I kept quiet when others teased me for my Asianness, but that only seemed to mix fiery oranges anger with their jokes. During lunch, I sat alone, listening to other students' joyous chattering. This loneliness and jealousy froze me into an icy shade of blue. I don't understand. Why will no one talk to me? What did I do wrong? I recall one of my experiences during 8th grade at the Baker School Lunar New Year celebration. I felt excited to wear my shiny red tangzhuang, which is a traditional Asian clothes that's usually made of silk that you wear on Lunar New Year, to school, even though it was bought 8 years ago and it took me forever to click all of the buttons. When I finally entered the school's main hallway, I immediately noticed something peculiar. The silk patterns on my tangzhuang began to creep to life. Like black snakes, they slithered disgustingly along my body, causing other students to stare at me blatantly. My face became a dark shade of purple, which only ended up attracting more eyes. It's like when a new student enters your classroom. You cannot help but stare. The students' eyes felt like neon orange lasers, freezing me into blue ice and slicing my tangzhuang and skin apart. I heard a few mean snickers, and someone brazenly approached me, saying, "Your outfit is for girls." My heart sank, and I frantically dashed away. You make me stick out. Snakes, please just let me be me. Go back under there. Why did you sneak out? Why can't I just go home? No one wants me here. After this experience, I realized that this stabbed a permanent icy blue shard into my heart. It never melted. I could not help but think that millions of other Asian Americans may have also experienced these traumatic events. I felt extremely compelled to learn more. After pondering for a few days, I realized something important. Forcing others to change their perspective is impossible. A change always starts with a single individual. Upon entering high school, I knew I had to use my strengths for the greater community. Firstly, I joined the Asian Pacific American Club, a safe space for Asian American identifying students to discuss ways to make Brookline High School, or BHS, more inclusive to all people, including Asian Americans. I also volunteer in the annual BHS Lunar New Year Festival, where students can participate in games and performance while also learning about Asian culture. As I said, 2 birds for 1 stone. The day ends with stunning performances from Asian songs to yo-yo and karate. It was during these performances that I truly felt free. I could finally express the importance of Asian American culture to the greater BHS community through my music and the piano. As I nervously stepped onto my stage, my shoes' brown tap, tap, tap echoed through the auditorium. But it was at this moment when I remembered something. So many friendly faces were watching me, offering their silent support, reminding me of the comfort of this close-knit community. A wave of calmness washed over me. During my performances, I recalled the colors I had seen: an angry orange, a sad blue, and an embarrassed purple. Suddenly, my eyes drifted onto the ground, and I felt a strange yet powerful phenomenon. I became as light as a feather and started flying. I fluttered first to the higher notes of the piano, and then freely into the air. I was completely immersed in my emotions, and they all started spilling like a rainbow. When I returned, I finally realized what I had just seen: a music poetic and vibrant yellow. Now a junior at Brookline High School, I acknowledge that although my past experiences hurt, they allow me to understand the importance of community. Being Asian American inspired me to step forward, forge connections, and view the world from new and inspiring perspectives. Being Asian is like a third primary color, which together can create endless hues and flowers. Each shade represents a new opportunity to develop one's identity. Transforming colors, that is my superpower. Thank you.
Amarjot Ranu Laverdiere is a senior at Brookline High and will be attending Smith College in the fall with a major in neuroscience. I have no idea how she manages her schedule. She has so much going on. She's a co-leader of the Climate Justice Club and South Asian Students Association at BHS. She rows varsity for Brookline Crew. Outside of school, she works at the Museum of Science. She volunteers with the Brookline Community Development Corporation. She was also a leader in helping to plan this year's Day of Racial Reform and Solidarity at school. She lives with her mom, and she dedicates this award to her nanny G, who showed her the power and beauty of understanding language. So please welcome Amarjot.
This is good. Okay. On a humid Tuesday night in August, there is laughing in my kitchen. Leaning over the flour-blanketed counter, I watch my nanny beside me make rotis. First, her thumbs press into a section of dough, then her index fingers guide another section forward and stretch the perimeter. Like magic, her hands, delicate but strong, spin the balls of dough into smooth, even discs. She then rolls them in flour and allows them to rise into fluffy and thin sheets of goodness on the stove. I attempt to copy her, but my hands fall short. We laughed together through each of my lumpy and warped products. We learned how to do this very young, Raje, my nani says as we dust flour off the counter. It's not hard, you just need to practice. How did you learn? I asked, turning to her. My nani's face lights up as she says, Biji ne menu sikaya, o bahut badhiya banandi si. Biji taught me. She was an expert. Though I often ask to help my family members prepare meals, it is rarely about just the food. It is instead another way for me to listen, connect, and absorb. Growing up far from my Indian relatives, all I could do on my visits to see them was listen, or rather, not speak. Over towers of parante and steaming pots of yellow dal, I would sit quiet and unsure of myself as my aunts and uncles, grandma and mom, passed hours chatting. It was a place I was comfortable in, but not part of. When I began trying to learn Punjabi in middle school, I imagined growing my capacity to contribute and become less of a listener and, as such, more a part of the community I felt isolated from. I thought that a true connection to the community meant being able to share something, my own knowledge, my own experiences. However, in my attempt to learn about my family and culture, I started listening and inquiring more. My prompts became my vessel. Gazing over the sloping green and yellow hills of British Columbia, I listened to my mamaji as he recounted the folly that led to his metal hip. He would point a big finger at his side as he narrated the Great Fall to me. In my Saturday morning phone calls to my nani, I listened to stories about Diwalis with her father and the farm she lived in Rakba, Punjab, the spinning of the water pump, the thread machines, and her lifelong friendships. When talking with my momiji about her upbringing, I learned how she was taught that it was a collective responsibility to take care of guests at family gatherings and to help out wherever she could. It's what has made her now such an amazing host. Trying to learn about my family, bridging cultural and generational barriers, I discovered the power that listening intently holds. Instead of finding connection through using my own voice, I found it through hearing others'. In my life, listening, really listening to other people has opened the door to a world greater than my own, where there are infinite possibilities to learn about myself, learn about other people, and learn about the world I live in. Thank you.
All right, before we introduce the last two essay winners of the night, I'm going to pause here and note, as you saw in the video that we watched earlier, Shulan Chang was instrumental in the kind of continuance of the essay contest over the years, just an incredible leader for BAAFN and for the town of Brookline. And she had asked us, in this, the kind of inaugural year of the Shulan Chang Award, she had asked us to play a video from YouTube to precede her statement, but we can't get the video to work. So I'll just tell you, it was a video of someone singing the song The Impossible Dream. And I'll introduce Susan to share Shulan's statement.
I will add that Shulan Chang was a woman, Brookline's Woman of the Year, one year. So Shulan Chang, who cannot be here with us tonight, asked me to read this statement as we present the inaugural winners of the award named after her. The Impossible Dream is a favorite song, and you can also Google the song. There's many different versions of it. This is a favorite song I learned to sing as a sixth grader more than 60 years ago. It has always been an anthem that lifts my spirit. Its melody cradles the soul, yet its words inspire one to persevere till our last breath. I am deeply honored and grateful to the Brookline Asian American Family Network for dedicating this essay contest award to my name. It is my hope that the winner of the award personifies the impossible dream. demonstrates and inspires courage, determination, resilience, and grace under life pressures. And so I think you will see the two winners of this award tonight embody all of those qualities. I'd first like to introduce Ellie Hong. Ellie is a junior at BHS and is a product of the Ridley School. Go Ridley! The oldest of two, she loves traveling with her family, including skiing with her dad. She also enjoys spending time on her roof where she can watch sunsets and planes overhead unobstructed. This pastime even inspired her essay. A true writer at heart, Ellie is involved with the Cypress, tutors other students in writing, and was chosen for the Whipple Writing Fellowship at BHS. She dedicates this award to her maternal grandmother, who inspires Ellie with her own strength and story, and despite the language barrier, has always shown Ellie love and support for everything she does. Please help me welcome Ellie.
I'm really happy to be here, and my piece is entitled Contrails. Where my story started and where it continues are a mere mile away from each other. Yet I find myself drawn to the angular airplanes that are visible in the sky on any clear day, the same vehicle of transportation that planted my family in the only country I've ever known as my own. I am mesmerized by the stark white contrails that follow them wherever they go and the endless unknowns of their destinations or places of origin. These hunks of metal fill me with wonder. I frequently contemplate my existence as the product of the unrelenting work done by my maternal grandmother, my Weharmony, who endured job after job that took a toll on her body and spirit. Would I be here today if it were not for her constant sacrifice? She worked relentlessly and came home each day, her skin burned by fish oil, her mind weary and worn down, but with a heart that never stopped beating for her children, her grandchildren, for descendants unborn. I still feel her quiet strength in the way she never stops cooking, filling her car to bursting with galbi and kimchi and tteokguk every time she makes the drive up from New York. Through blocks of fatty beef, tart kimchi, and hearty soups, she passes on her love and strength, urging me in her accented tongue some of the few familiar words she knows, imploring me to keep eating, keep eating. My mother was born more than 6,000 miles away from where we live now. From Korea to Taiwan, Japan, Brazil, New York City, Cincinnati, New Haven, D.C., and Boston, her life has always been in constant motion. Planes picked up her world and moved it miles away countless times, where she started over, charting a new kind of life in a foreign land. She spent hours behind the register at her family's store, piled her schedule high, never stopping, always reaching for her survival, for her future. There is evidence that environmental factors play a role in one's DNA and the DNA of their children, a clear indication that generational trauma can be a physical phenomenon as well as one shaped because of one's personality or mental illness. I like to think that grit and strength can also be passed down through families, if not through one's genetics, through stories and with the quiet knowing of all the stories, triumphs, and sufferings that lie behind. Like contrails that contrast the cerulean sky, my mother and grandmother's resistance appear behind them, the force that powered them to brighter horizons. On bright sunny days, when I see the sky dotted with airplanes carrying thousands of people with hopes and worries, my mind spins with possibilities. It is someone's new start and another's final voyage. Someone's story begins the second someone else's ends. There is power in struggle, and struggle creates strength. And I carry the history of my family that includes both. In the long and complicated story of Asian America, it is this part of our Asian American history that should be celebrated, that we persisted, that we continue to fight for ourselves and our futures, that we're here to stay. As my grandmother urges me to keep fueling for the next tomorrow, I feel all that her words cannot say, that we must keep going, that we will, that we can. Thank you.
Annie Shi is a 10th grader at BHS and a graduate of Pierce School. She also writes for the Cypress and is moving into an editor role there, is on the speech team, and also leads Market Minds, an economics and financial literacy club at Brookline High. She also rows varsity crew and tutors younger students. She balances her schedule in and out of school, still finds time to enjoy her hobbies of photography and videography, spend time with her parents, grandparents, and older brother at home. She would like to dedicate her win to her grandmother in China and her late grandfather for their dedication and support. Annie.
Thank you so much. My piece is titled The Birthday Notebook. The notebook page is crinkled at the edges, brown from years of sitting on a shelf. At the top, the characters Sin Le, or birthday, are written in faded blue ink. Below the green margin line, rows of Chinese characters fill the space, squeezed between the dotted lines in my grandmother's careful handwriting. Each entry begins with a name, followed by an approximate birth date and time. Some are crossed out, others scrawled over. The paper bears imprints of writing from the other side, the pressure of each stroke revealing the weight of my grandmother's hand. Despite its imperfections, the notebook holds something priceless. A record of our family's birthdays, spanning 4 generations, preserved for my grandmother's memory. My father remembers my grandmother meticulously recording dates in the notebook's pages for as long as he can remember. At first, it was only the birthdays of her siblings and children. As the family grew, entries for her grandchildren and great-grandchildren filled the pages. To others, this aged notebook might seem meaningless, but to me, it is irreplaceable, one of the few tangible records of my family's history. More than that, the notebook represents my superpower as a second-generation immigrant. The ability to find value in experiences and connections rather than in material possessions. Unlike some families who pass down heirlooms of gold or fine china, my family's history fits within the pages of a worn notebook. When my dad immigrated to the U.S. from China, he brought little with him. Growing up in poverty, he had no expensive jewelry, furniture, or tangible wealth to inherit. Instead, the only things that came with him were the stories he carried and the values of resilience, sacrifice, and family that his parents instilled in him. In the absence of material possessions, my family taught me that the most meaningful things in life are not things at all. I learned the importance of finding richness in experiences, relationships, and connections across all areas of life. Growing up as a child of Asian immigrants, I often felt caught between 2 worlds: the American culture that constantly surrounded me, and the Chinese heritage that defined my family. During my rare visits to China, I struggled to insert myself into conversations, my Chinese faltering under the weight of unfamiliar phrases and rapid dialects. Back home, surrounded by peers who spoke of family reunions and heirlooms that had been in their families for generations, I felt like an outsider, disconnected from my own relatives that lived an ocean away. But my grandmother's notebook reminds me that my identity is not confined to one place or culture. It is a combination of histories, shaped by my ancestors who came before me. While some of my classmates may own artifacts that tell stories of grand expeditions or historical milestones, I carry something just as powerful: the knowledge that my family's strength lies not in expensive treasures, but deeply rooted connections that carried us across oceans and generations. This perspective has shaped how I navigate challenges and define success. In a society that often equates wealth with material possessions, I have learned to see value differently. I don't measure achievement by what I own, but by the relationships I build and the impact that I leave behind. The value of connection that my family has passed down is something that has guided me as I grew older, helping me both reflect on the past and to plan for the future. Someday, I hope to continue the tradition of recording birthdays on the pages of my grandmother's notebook. It's easy to think of a heirloom as something of monetary value, but for me, this notebook holds something far greater: the lessons of my family's journey and the superpower it has given me. More than just a record of names and dates, it is a testament to the values that define me and a reminder that our true wealth is not in what we own, but in the connections that we foster and the stories that we pass down. Thank you.
Okay, so now we're moving on to our keynote speaker. Our keynote speaker this year is TED Talking investor, entrepreneur, former high school math teacher from a major private equity firm, and national best-selling author James Rhee. His book came out last April, making waves in the US, called Red Helicopter. James is Korean American, and his book was published by HarperCollins, a major US publishing house. As son of immigrant parents, he didn't conform to the rules of mainstream elite society. Instead, he proposed an unfamiliar management strategy centered on kindness and goodwill, which defied conventional thinking, which led to not only saving a failing company, but helped it to thrive and flourish. And James was in New York City. There were horrible thunderstorms, and his flight was delayed. So he's not arriving till 8 p.m. But he sent us a video that we can play. But I do want to say one more thing about him. This was quoted from an article, and basically it says, "I had expected an ordinary business book, but as I read, I was moved to tears by the life story of Rhee's parents. So powerful, it rivals works like Crying in H Mart, recommended by former U.S. President Barack Obama, or the Netflix drama series When Life Gives You Tangerines." And if you haven't seen it, you have to see this K-drama. It's so good. So I'm delighted to show you the video of a friend and author that believe kindness turns things around. So we're going to go ahead and show you the video.
I know James wanted so badly to be here tonight. He was on the text and email all day trying to figure out if he could make it, but the weather didn't cooperate. We will try to figure out a way to get him to do a book talk in Brookline, at some point. And if you join our email list, we'll try to let people know when that's going to happen. We do have his book available for sale outside in the hallway. Maybe is that where it is? Was it right here? Oh, he's right here. So, after the event, please, if you're interested, please come take a look and get the book. I just want to wrap up the night by just thanking everybody who made this evening possible, to Brookline Interactive Group for recording this event, to the Coach Corner Theater and Blair Bean and her team here for everything that they've done. Alex Schaffner, Brookline Booksmith, Linda Louie and Grace Watson from the steering committee of BAAFN, who have done so much behind-the-scenes work to make this happen. To all of our sponsors, you can see them on the program. But Brookline Bank, our presenting sponsor, Coolidge Corner Theater, Brookline Community Foundation, Brookline Booksmith, Mint Julep, Olive Connection, Susan Park Books, Council of Korean Americans, Shulan Chang, John Hodgman, Alicia Shu, Linda Louie, Giles, Lisa Patek, Chi Chi Wu. And the last thing I want to say is that we have cake. So if you want to have some cake, stick around and let's make an evening of tonight. So we have this room until 7:45. So please make yourself comfortable and get to know each other. Thank you so much for being here, and thank you for celebrating our SA Award.